Long Island. WHPC voted Best Radio Station in the Bethpage Best of Long Island Awards 2 years in a row.
The voice of Nassau Community College.
This is the award-winning 90.3 WHPC HD Garden City.
Listen on your smart speaker.
Play WHPC.
And available on Odyssey, TuneIn, iHeart, and on the WHPC app.
90.3 WHPC.
I sit and wait. There's an angel. Contemplate my fate. And do they know
What the hell is this, brother?
the places where we go
You're on mic, bro.
when we're gray and
What is this?
old?
Tim says, play Angels by Robbie Williams.
'Cause I have been
And I'm like, first of all, basically, I don't even know who Robbie Williams is. Timmy doesn't either. But
Robbie Williams is a superstar in Britain, brother. How do
Yeah.
you not know who he is?
I know who he is, but I don't,
You have to wait until the song like kicks in. You should have started it like 30 seconds in. Not
you
the
can't
beginning.
really do that, bro.
Well, you could, but
Yeah, not really.
you chose not to.
You didn't tell me to.
Well,
No, what's this? It has to have to do with Tottenham, right?
of course, brother.
You-
of course.
you-
I wanted
you're
you to.
crazy.
I want
What's
you
your
to play.
problem with
I
Tottenham?
want you to play the better part of it, which
What's your deal with Tottenham, brother? You're like psycho about them.
I mean,
not even
like you
psych-
are about the Beatles, brother.
Yeah, but
I'm not allowed to like something
Yeah, but I don't play the Beatles on the show a lot. Very, very, very.
on this show. You play them on other shows all the time.
Not on my free-for-all
Yes,
show.
you
No,
do.
I don't.
Of course you do.
I don't.
So how many other shows do I have where I can play any music?
You can do
None.
anything you want.
None, brother. The answer to that is none. See?
Where's-
that was it. That was it. Done. Done.
That's
Cut it
it.
off. Cut it off.
Didn't this turn into some Tottenham Spurs?
It
song?
did.
Okay.
That was the part right there.
Okay. And then he like sang to it or something.
Yes,
They changed
he
the words.
He sang the version.
And all those.
They did an homage, like Weird Al does, except nice and complimentary.
Weird Al does complimentary song.
His stuff is
He doesn't do anything that the artist does not approve of.
well, because some people don't mind and they have a sense of humor and they know their own song will get a second life.
It's still Billy Joel to me. Billy Joel wouldn't allow.
Huh?
Billy Joel,
don't even
Weird
know
Al
that
took the "It's Still Rock and Roll" to me, and he changed it to "It's Still Billy Joel" to me.
Okay.
And it's a song
Never
he does.
heard it.
Yeah, he's never recorded it. Billy hasn't allowed it. He's done it live, but but he hasn't done it.
Well, see, Tottenham's got a midfielder. His last name is Sarr, so they changed that now. Now they saying he's a Sarr man, like David Bowie.
Oh God!
See, that's what they do over there. They do a lot of tribute songs to players. They change some words
They need
around.
more than one sport to follow over there. That's their problem.
Now here comes the ugly American.
I'm not ugly. I'm very lovable towards my friends at the Tottenham Hotspurs or Liverpool or the London Arsenal or whatever. You know?
We don't have to be nice to the London Arsenal,
Why not?
whatever that is.
Aren't they in London?
They're in Woolwich, brother. They claim they're in North London, but they're not really.
Oh, okay. Isn't Arsenal the greatest
It's a lie
team?
they've been perpetuating for 100 and something years.
Isn't Arsenal one of the greatest teams in all of soccer?
Completely false.
Okay, just checking, brother. Anyway, about 4 weeks ago, brother, we were pretty high on the football season. You know, the
American football.
American football,
Just to
of course.
make sure everybody's following along.
And, you know, the Jets had gotten, Aaron Rodgers. You know, the Giants had signed Daniel Jones, and there's a process. Well, maybe he'll grow into his role.
The hype was real, brother.
I know. And then what happened? What happened?
Now the trash is real.
What happened, brother, is that the 4 plays and out for the season for Aaron Rodgers.
That was a different 4 and out.
Yeah, and then, of course, Daniel Jones is not living up to anything. Maybe the most overplayed person in the NFL right now.
Overpaid, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I said.
He said overplayed.
Well,
That's why.
both. Overpaid.
He's starting to be overplayed considering he threw for 137 yards yesterday. That's
Not a lot.
no. And the Jets are complaining about Zach Wilson, or Jet fans, I should say, are complaining about Zach Wilson. They're not paying Zach Wilson $40 million.
No, and I wonder, brother. One of the reasons Zach Wilson's doing horribly, he takes 2 steps back and he has no time to throw the ball.
It's a massive, brother. The thing that kills.
Well,
me.
hold on, let me just finish.
Go ahead, finish, please.
My question is, if the Jets' offensive line is that bad, what would happen with Aaron Rodgers? If it was
Exactly
that bad?
what happened in 4 plays, brother. I said, look, we said this, brother. Not even me. I'm not even going to take full credit for this because you were just as sagacious as I was.
Ooh, big word.
With these preseason prognostications. And what was the one thing that both of us said weeks before the season started?
I don't know.
While the Jets were signing Dalvin Cook and getting another receiver and talking about Odell Beckham Jr., you have to fix the line. It's that simple.
Right.
You need to fix the offensive line. A team will not win without at least a competent offensive line. Because if you can't block, your skilled players can't skill. How many times have I said that over the last month?
A lot.
The Jets' line is garbage. And you can talk all you want about Becton and Vera Tucker and the fact that those 2 guys might have some talent. But the line as a whole, which is how lines are evaluated, is garbage.
I agree.
Dwayne Brown they said, oh, he's going to be our left tackle. 38 years old. He's hurt too. He's out for another couple of weeks. So you have a thin line, now thinner. The Jets' offensive line is either last or close to last in pretty much every metric that they measure offensive lines by.
Yep.
And and I said this, Aaron Rodgers, 39-year-old quarterback. The one thing that you have to do to make sure that he can be the guy he has been in his career is keep him upright.
I agree.
And the Jets never address that. It's, let's get another skill player. Well, you know what? Dalvin Cook has done nothing. His average per carry is something like 2.4 yards. Alan Lazard has done next to nothing. Randall Cobb has done nothing. He doesn't have a catch. So all of these guys that you're paying all this money to, great. But what are they doing? What are they actually doing for the team? What are they getting done? What are they adding to wins? And the answer is nothing.
Nothing. It's really sad because there was such a great feeling 4 weeks ago, and it's just totally gone. Matter of fact, they're both 0-3. Jets. What? No. I'm sorry. Giants are 1-2. I apologize.
No, the Jets are 1-2 also.
Both are 1-2. I forgot. Yeah, I put it all together. It seems like one Giant loss. I don't mean Giants. I mean,
but that's how everybody feels.
Yeah,
that's the feeling in New York. Is like I thought before the season started, Giants fans were like, and even Saquon Barkley said, "Oh, all the attention's on the Jets. Why is there no attention on us?" You know what, Saquon? Because you got a really tough schedule, and you guys didn't really do a whole lot to get better. Signing Daniel Jones for $40 million was not getting better. It's staying the same. It's like when the Yankees signed Aaron Judge, and all of a sudden everybody was all excited. It's like, well, he's still on your team. You didn't get better. You just signed your guy.
Yeah, well, Aaron Judge is, what was in the Daily News or the Post? They said, is Aaron Judge the new Don Mattingly?
No, that's stupid.
No, in the sense that he's going to play really well for the Yankees, but he's not going to make the playoffs.
He made the playoffs, sir. He's made the playoffs.
But I mean, World Series and,
relax.
Well, that's what happened with Mattingly. That's Mattingly's, one problem as a Yankee.
He made the playoffs, Mattingly.
Yeah, in '95.
And he was phenomenal.
Yeah, in '95. And
you know why he was phenomenal, brother? Because Don Mattingly had a conversation with his back. And he said, you know what, back? He did like a Joe Boo conversation for Major League. And he said to his back, screw you, Joe Boo. He goes, I'll do it on my own. Yeah. And Donnie Baseball had a series.
He did, unfortunately.
But that was it for him.
That was it.
That was it. He sacrificed his back for that postseason, and he said, I'm done after this.
Yep.
Because he sold it out. And he was like the golfers say, he was gripping and ripping. He didn't care what he did to his back.
Like I've said, brother, I'm a believer that he should be in the Hall of Fame. So, I know you don't.
Talent-wise, yes. Longevity-wise, no. And it kills me to say that because
He was
still one of my favorite baseball
He was
players
there for
ever.
11 seasons.
Yeah, but only 6 of them were actually productive. At least 5 of them were not productive at all. For 5 or 6 seasons, he was one of the top 3 or 5 best players in baseball.
307 lifetime.
He was phenomenal in 5 or 6 seasons. He was average in the other 5 or 6 seasons.
I don't know. I think.
And I hate to say it. One of my favorite players ever, just like Thurman Munson's one of and who suffers from the same quote unquote malady in that he didn't play long enough.
I think,
Although Munson was deteriorating quickly because his knees were shot.
Right.
But that's anyway. Let's get back to that.
Anyway, so let's talk about the Jets almost won the game though. That's the weird part because Zach Wilson throws. He almost pulls off a Doug Flutie, and if there was just a little bit more of the hands being closer to the ball, and it was very close, that would have been caught, and the Jets would have won, and we wouldn't be talking about the Jets because they'd be
talking about
2-1.
the miracle that they pulled off.
The miracle at the MetLife
would have papered over the cracks, as they say.
More than the cracks.
But Zach Wilson. One thing he can do is throw the ball a long way, and that throw was probably in the range of 70 yards. Patriots go to knock it down right at the goal line, like you're taught to do, is knock it down, and instead it hit off Garrett Wilson's shoulder, and kind of popped. Didn't really pop up, but it popped off to the side.
Yep, almost.
And Randall Cobb was right there.
Yep.
And the ball was just a few inches away from his hand. I tell you what, I saw the replay a couple of times. It would have been interesting to see what they would have ruled because Cobb, had he caught the ball, his knee was down at the half-yard line. His knee was already on the ground when he would have caught the ball. I'm wondering if they would have said, it's where the ball is, because the ball, I think, would have been past the goal line, or are they going to say it's where his knee is? It would have been a review.
It would have been, I think they would have said
Belichick would have been moaning after the game if they would have given the Jets a touchdown.
I think they would have said the ball is over the line.
I think that's what would have happened because his knee was down already, so it has to be where the ball is.
We've talked about how that stupid plane of glass and the whole mentality with that.
Well, that's what it is.
A lot of times the ball goes in with their hand, but their body doesn't. So.
But his knee would have been down before he caught the ball, so it wouldn't. I don't know that would have been the ruling. Is that all right? If your knee is down, then it's wherever the ball is when you catch the ball. Because how many times has that happened that somebody has their knee on the ground before they catch it?
Yeah, well,
but it would have made for a hell of a debate at the end of the game. Because it would have been reviewed at least once, maybe twice.
It's something for the NFL to look into, actually, just as a side project. So anyway, the Jets almost won. They lost 15-10. There was a safety in there also.
Yes.
I mean, come on, guys.
Well, that's because of the line. I mean,
I know.
Look. I'm not going to sit here and say that it would. Well, no, I am going to say the line is a disaster either way. But just because Zach Wilson didn't get sacked 8 times yesterday, it doesn't mean the line played well.
Nope.
Because if he's hurried on almost every drop back he takes, then what's the point?
Well, maybe. Since he's going to be the guy, I don't think they're going to bring in Tommy Boyle for Tim Boyle for a couple of weeks. I think what they got to do is get him to watch tapes or films of Fran Tarkenton, and just
he's not that guy.
I know, but if he's going to play for the Jets this season, he might have to be.
Well, then here's a couple things. Number one, the Jets need to script rollouts or script quick hit passes. That's what they need to do. You can't have Zach Wilson dropping back into a pocket that's not going to be there for more than 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds. And he is slow in terms of reading a defense and going through his progressions. He needs to make faster reads and he needs to get rid of the ball faster. Plain and simple.
I agree.
And that's part of the problem because the Jets need to design an offense where there is a quick route available. And he might look deep and see if somebody is going to be like Garrett Wilson. If Garrett Wilson's going deep, all right, do I have him? No, he's covered. Boom, hit the underneath guy. That's how it has to be. And for whatever reason, it's not. But if that's the case, then Zach Wilson needs to roll out and just throw the ball out of bounds.
Yeah, no, he doesn't like to do that.
No, he's always been the kind of guy who he'll scramble and he'll try to use his legs to make something happen. And he could get away with that in college. You can't get away with that in the NFL because everybody's fast in the NFL.
Yeah, even the big guys.
You know, when he was playing at Utah, and the competition is what it is when you're playing against Utah, that you can get away with it. In the NFL, you got speed.
Yes.
Guys are drafted because they're fast.
Yeah, so, let's go Jets.
I do want to say, I'm not going to sit here still and kill Zach Wilson. But
no, not yet.
That being said, it's becoming more and more apparent every week that he is not the answer, and he's never going to be the answer.
Right, but also if your offensive line isn't helping, but after a while he's the face of the offensive team.
He and Zach Wilson even said, and granted it was near the end of his press conference yesterday, but he finally did say, I need to get better. He needs to take some accountability as well, which is something that he has not embraced. That part of being a quarterback is that when things go wrong, you need to be the guy saying, I need to get better. And last year, he didn't do that at all, and that aggravated some of his teammates. But here's the thing, all right? The Jets have Garrett Wilson, who I don't care if he's in his second year. He's one of the best receivers in the NFL. They need to get him the ball and let Garrett Wilson figure it out, whether it's just quick hits to the outside where it's almost like a screen pass,
right,
or he gets off the line and it's just a few steps, cut, post pattern, quick slant, quick post, whatever. You got to get him the ball.
I agree.
And there's ways to do that in a system. I mean, again, I've been saying this for years. The Patriot system has never changed. Doesn't matter if it's Brady running it, if it's Mac Jones running it. They throw quick passes, and every time they throw one of these passes, it's 5, 6, 7 yards. Zach Wilson can do that. I don't know why they haven't had him working in that kind of system, because that would be what's best for him. It's almost like Daniel Jones in a way. The less Zach Wilson has to think, the better off the Jets will be.
Right, and you might want to just start doing everything's quick and to the sideline. That's maybe his new style.
Part of the problem with that is, though, that's a longer throw.
Yeah.
And longer throws aren't necessarily a good thing. And I don't know if rolling out might be a better idea, just to buy him some time and buy the receiver some time to beat a defender or do whatever they have to do.
Well, no, you just go 7 yards and make and throw it there.
But yesterday I was first of all I was disgusted with the play calling. It was a run every first down. The Patriots were loading up. They knew the run was coming. And how are you going to beat anybody when they know what's coming? Hey, it's first down. The Jets are going to run. Let's load up the box. Here's Breece Hall, 2 yards. Here's Dalvin Cook, 1 yard, or loses one. And then now it's 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9, and you're on your way to 3rd and 8.
Yep.
And now you're asking Zach Wilson to convert 3rd and 8s.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Especially this year.
I mean this is these guys they make NFL money. They're supposed to be smart. So I don't get it, like why they keep doing the same thing over and over again. They're supposed to know better. Nathaniel Hackett was hired by the Jets. I'm sure he's making more than $1 million this year. You can't tell me that running the ball on first down, every first down, is the way to go.
Right.
You got to throw the ball. You got to mix it up a little bit. You got to at least let the Patriots know, hey, we're going to throw every once in a while. If you load up the box on first down, we're going to do something to try to beat that, not just run the ball into the line again.
And we should say this is the 15th straight loss that the Jets have had to the Patriots.
Disgusting.
In the last 8 years or whatever the hell it is. That's not a good thing. But you know what? I expect that with Belichick. He likes to beat the Jets, so I think that's part of it. Let's talk about the Giants. They played on Thursday night. Horrible game. Lost 30-12 to the 49ers. We should say one more thing. The Jets have the Chiefs and the Eagles next 2 out of 3 games.
Next 3 games.
And the Broncos in between.
And the Broncos just gave up 70 points to the Miami Dolphins.
So
that also frustrates the Jet fans, is that they watch the Dolphins, the team that they think they're pretty much equal to, score 70 on the Broncos.
That's not happening with
I'd take
Zach.
20. I'll take 20 against the Broncos.
I'll take about 30.
Should be able to win that game if you score 20.
Anyway, the Giants lost 30-12 Thursday Night Football. It was a national game, but not everyone has Amazon Prime. Though this was, this was a local. They had a local version of it.
I was watching.
So that was part of it. But that's one of the problems with this Thursday night game. It's not ESPN anymore. It's not Fox or whatever.
Horrible.
It's, people are not going to watch these after a while because they don't get Amazon or they don't get, whatever.
Yeah, you're playing in a quote-unquote national game, but nobody's watching it.
Yeah, and now I know Amazon's happy because, God, they have a service they're trying to sell.
Right.
But arena football would draw well on Amazon. So, in the sense that it's more than what they normally get. Though arena football is coming back, the actual league. So
I'm still waiting for them to put a writers' wing in their Hall of Fame.
Well, I know you covered them.
And I was talking to some arena football guys over the weekend. We were chopping it up on Facebook a little bit, and we determined that Rodney Smith does need to be in the Hall of Fame. Former Albany Firebird.
I agree.
That's besides the point. But,
yeah, it is. Well,
but he deserves it.
There should be something. The AFL, the Arena Football League's had some problems over the years. They almost were making it, and then they said, well, we don't want to spend this much money. And then
they were making it, but then the salaries started getting a little bit out of control, and that was a big part of the problem.
Yeah,
but you know what? I'm never going to sit here and say that players aren't worth what somebody's willing to pay them.
Right, but you know what? That was at the 18-year mark, and this gets to a point where you have to pay a little bit more than $300 a game.
Right. But part of that was because the TV deal wasn't there, and part of it was also because owners wanted to make more money.
Yeah, that was part of it too. They got all greedy. Anyway, we should say if you want to give us a call, 516-572-7440.
Yeah, angry Jet fans, call in.
or Giant fans or whatever. We don't care. There's a lot of anger.
They're all going to be angry.
There's a lot of anger in New York sports right now, if you're a fan. I mean, you got the Jets and the Giants being horrible, the Yankees and the Mets.
Not making the playoffs.
The Liberty's the only one making
Go
the
Liberty!
playoffs. And
Brianna Stewart, if you're listening, call in.
And what about, NYCFC, my favorite team? Are they? No?
They're just middle of the pack, bro.
They're still playing?
Of course. They're still playing.
They should be in the playoffs, so they start the playoffs right now. Again, the long season, people lose track of it. Anyway,
it's only September, brother.
The Giants looked horrible. Daniel Jones, you're getting all this money. Come on, do something.
Look at the numbers, brother, for Daniel Jones.
22 for 32, not bad, but
137 yards.
That's
horrible.
horrible.
You know what that means?
That means
it means he did not throw one ball downfield.
Right.
Or if he did, it was incomplete. He had one receiver, and I don't even remember which one it was. Who had 2 catches for 31 yards. That's it. Everything else was check down, underneath, throw, whatever. 137 yards on 22 completions. That's disgusting. And even on 32 attempts for 137 yards, that's basically you're getting a little more than 4 yards per pass attempt. And that's an atrocious number.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to. It's horrible. And yes, no Saquon, I get it, but let's face facts. The Giants' offense is not good. And it's the same reason as the Jets. The reason being that the offensive line isn't getting the job done.
Nope.
But Daniel Jones has clearly somehow regressed this year. And he's got more weapons. They have some receivers, but it's not working at all. And they really have not looked good.
Well, let's do a fantasy thing right now, brother. I don't like that type of thing, but you had your choice between Zach Wilson and Daniel Jones, and you had to pick one. Who are you going with?
I'm going with Daniel Jones.
Really?
But am I going with Daniel Jones for $40 million, or am I just picking one over the other?
Oh well.
That's that. If I'm just going with one or the other, salary doesn't mean anything. I'm going with Daniel Jones because at least he had a season where he did it. Zach Wilson still hasn't proven that he can do it at the NFL level. He's still trying to prove that he's not going to be one of the biggest busts in NFL history. This is a number 2 overall pick who has not shown that he can be a quarterback in the NFL. That's Ryan Leaf territory.
Yeah.
That's what's Jamarcus Russell territory. Those guys were number 1 picks. So this is what we're talking about. If Zach Wilson turns out that in a year or two that the Jets waive Zach Wilson and say, you know what, this was just a mistake, he will be one of the biggest busts in NFL history.
What about Baker Mayfield?
He's still playing. I'd take
know.
Baker Mayfield over Zach Wilson in a heartbeat.
I know. And actually, he's not playing bad. Not good, but not bad.
He certainly isn't worthy of a number one overall pick at this point in his career, but at least he's still quarterbacking a team, and those teams have chances to win. The Jets, when Zach Wilson is playing these days, it's hard to see. It's hard to see a pathway to victory.
I agree.
And it's getting that way for Daniel Jones too.
Yeah, well, I'm not a fan of Daniel Jones.
I never have been.
I thought especially at $40 million a year. I like Zach, but at the same time, he's not doing anything for me. It's sad to have maybe these two really bad New York quarterbacks.
Well, here's the issue with Daniel Jones. You have him for 2 more years, this year and next year, because the way his contract was structured,
right?
He basically will make most of the money in the first 2 years. So if you decide that he's not going to be your guy, then after next year would be the time that they would cut him. But if that becomes the case, then where do you go? Because there aren't free agent quarterbacks. There is no Aaron Judge of quarterbacks hitting the free agent market in the NFL.
No.
Because quarterbacks are too important. The teams will lock them up for as long as they can, and whatever the money is, they don't care. That's why the Baltimore Ravens finally got it done with Lamar Jackson. After all the acrimony and all the harsh words and everything that was going on, they finally got it done.
Right.
So quarterbacks like that don't hit the open market. The only reason Aaron Rodgers hit the open market was because let's face it, he's old.
He's old.
So yeah, he'll hit the open market. Just like Tom Brady said to the Patriots, you know what, I'm done here. I don't want to play for you guys anymore.
Eli Manning, if he had stayed around, he would have been on another team. Just the way Peyton ended up on another team.
Well, Peyton was still good when he left the Broncos, and he had just had surgery, so he was a bit of a risk. When he left the Colts, and the Colts also had Andrew Luck ready to step in.
Right.
So there were circumstances there. As far as Eli could Eli have played another couple of years in the league? Sure, he could have, but he would have been a backup. He would have been a pricey backup, but he would have been somebody's backup, and probably would have mentored a young, he would have probably been like a mentor to Trevor Lawrence or something.
Right.
And it would have been a good situation. Eli would make another $5, $7, $8 million or whatever, and Trevor Lawrence or whoever, Kyler Murray, or if you want to do it in now terms, C.J. Stroud, or the kid from the Texans. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Those guys. C.J. Stroud, by the way, is playing crazy good, crazy good. But something like that, where you're not, the only way you're playing is if one of the kids gets hurt, and then you're there to make sure the season doesn't get tanked like the Jets season has because Aaron Rodgers got hurt.
That's right. We should say one more thing, brother. On Saturday, I actually watched a college football game, which I rarely ever do.
Coach Prime?
Coach Prime.
That annoys me to no end that they call him Coach Prime.
Well, first of all, I'm saying they're calling him Coach Prime. And I'm like, Coach Prime.
His name is Sanders.
Primetime Dion. I'm like, please don't. It's he's only been there for 3 weeks.
Doesn't matter.
All of a sudden he is the guy in college football right now.
Doesn't matter. And that ended against Oregon.
Yeah, God, the Oregon. Oregon should have scored 14 more points at least.
They probably should have. But I will tell you this, and I was happy after the game, and I wasn't happy because Colorado got their butts kicked. I was happy because Deion Sanders' reaction to what happened was reality. He said in the press conference, "We got our butts kicked."
Yeah.
He didn't try to make excuses or BS anybody. He was just, we got our butts kicked, we got work to do, and we're going to do it. And that scenario is going to repeat itself because Colorado is playing some very good teams coming up. They're going to be playing USC coming up. They got their schedule has something like 4 or 5 top 20 teams on it. They are not a top 20 team.
No.
But I'm not going to sit here and kill Colorado because Deion is their coach and he annoys people. They won 1 game last year. They've already won 3 games this year. You don't turn a 1-win team into a top 20 team in 1 year.
Plus,
I don't care about the portal. It doesn't happen.
Right. Plus, one thing that's happened is a lot more people are going to the games. They've already made their money back on the whole deal with him being the coach and his big salary and everything. I think it's cool that you have a guy like Dion, sucking up some of the air in the room. Whether at the end of the season they're 4-4 or 5-5, whatever the hell they are,
They're probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 4-7.
Yeah. Okay. So,
but you know what? It's a 3-game improvement over last year.
Right. And plus, he at least Dion's having fun. And he's also being honest. He's saying, yeah, well, okay, we got to do better. And you know what? That's something you don't see with the coaches. They mumble. It's like watching Belichick.
Good impersonation, bro.
That's what he does.
I tell you, and another thing, the Colorado Sports Information Director the press conference was coming to an end. He wanted to shut it down. And he was like, all right, last question, guys. And Dion says to him, he goes, let him ask more questions. I got nowhere to go.
See, that's great.
I got to respect that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I don't really like Dion. I'm not a fan of the whole
He was a Yankee at one point,
prime
brother.
time and the whole like
Yankee,
look at me
come on.
kind of thing. I'm not a fan
He's in
of
the
that.
Hall of Fame. Come on.
He's in the NFL Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He's not in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Of course not.
But he is very much a self-promoter. I'm not a fan of people like that. But
sometimes you got to be, brother. You should be a self-promoter.
Whatever. But the point being that he will inject reality into the situation. He's not always the self-promoter because he will say, like after the game, we got our butts kicked.
Yeah, well,
a self-promoter would try to distance himself from what was going on. He said they weren't prepared, and that's on me. Yes,
well,
exactly.
I want to see, what happens in practice this week. Does he run him down? Does he go and say, okay, guys, this is what we did wrong. Let's work on this, or do you like just send them to thousands of running?
They watched the film. I'm sure all day on Sunday. They identified what happened. They didn't play well. Let's face facts. They were sloppy with the ball. They were bad on defense. There's a lot that needs to be fixed, but that's what happens when you play legitimate top 20 teams.
Yep.
And I think they play USC this week, and if they are, it's going to be another week like this past week, because that's what it is. That's what happens when you play good teams.
Yeah.
When you're not necessarily a good team yourself.
But one thing it helps is the fact that this is a different team in the sense that they're not great, but they're getting a lot of press, which is a good thing.
Here's my comp, brother. My Maryland Terrapins.
Yes.
Who are now 4-0.
Fear the turtle.
Fear the turtle, exactly. Beat up on Michigan State this week, 31-9. Hell of a result. But you got to look. Michigan State's coach is on the verge of being fired for cause. Michigan State's program right now is a mess. Maryland has Indiana next week, which they should win, which means they would be 5-0 going into a game against Ohio State. Do I expect Maryland to beat Ohio State? Absolutely not. I'd be happy if they lose that game by less than 20, because Ohio State is a legitimate top 10 team. Maryland is a team that is building to that level.
Right.
And Coach Locks is getting them there, and I love the guy, and he's been doing great stuff for the program, but it takes a lot of steps before you become a pretty good team to a very good team to a top 20 to a top 10. That's a lot of steps.
Right.
And it's a lot of changing perception, because kids, they all want to go, like, look at Alabama and Clemson this year. They're both mediocre. Clemson has gotten their butts kicked a couple of times. They just lost to Florida State. They lost to Duke. Clemson lost to Duke. I mean, 3 years ago, you never would have said that sentence. You'd think somebody was crazy for saying it. But Clemson and Alabama are not part of the title picture anymore. So you have to get past Ohio State, Michigan,
right.
and you have to get through that cycle that where kids are just blinded to the fact that, oh, well, who's the best team? That's where I want to go play.
Right. We should say, brother, next week, USC at Colorado.
There you go.
USC
at Colorado should help, but
is number 8.
very good
ranking.
team. Very good team, but a lot of speed, a lot of talent. They have the quarterback Caleb Ferguson, I believe his name is, Heisman Trophy candidate. So Shedeur Sanders is a nice quarterback, but not a legitimate. Fine, you throw for 900 yards in your first 2 games, but you're doing it against air.
Right.
So now you're going to see what a real Heisman Trophy candidate looks like.
Yeah, well, they were talking about that and watching the game it was ESPN on ABC, and they were talking about like people taking billboards out or something. I don't know. It's something.
About what? What do you mean?
About, I guess, Heisman Trophy guys taking out billboards. And
Let's not get crazy.
I don't know.
Shedeur could do that himself. Shedor's making more than $1.5 million on the NIL.
Well,
he's driving around a $150,000 car.
See, now they can. Now they can do it
Because it's his
legally.
cash. Even though, Deion's his father. Deion's got money.
Deion's got plenty of money. He kept his money. And
I'm sure he did.
And in 3 or 4 years when he leaves Colorado, he's going to the NFL.
I don't think the NFL. I think he could move on to another college. I think he could move on to like a Clemson or like a much bigger program than Colorado.
When his son goes into the NFL,
I don't know that. Somebody will draft his son probably, but I don't see his son as a starter in the NFL.
Well,
Who knows? The kid's got some talent. I'm not going to sit here and say he doesn't, but I think it would take a lot for an NFL team to trust him to be their quarterback, and it's going to take more games at this level to show that he can actually do it against this talent.
Yeah,
if he has a good game against USC, that he'll put himself on that radar. He did not have a good game against Oregon.
No,
so
God, no.
That's an issue.
Anyway, we're going to take a break right now. You're listening to From the Press Box right here on 90.3 WHPC. Give us a call, 516-572-7440.
This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by the Center for Workforce Development at Nassau Community College. A certified personal trainer course offered in partnership with the World Instructor Training Schools provides nationally recognized fitness career training necessary to become a certified personal trainer. This course consists of 30 hours of lecture and hands-on practical training in a local gym. Students also have the option to complete a 30-hour employer internship. This course is synchronous online through Zoom on Saturday mornings and at a local gym on Saturday afternoons from October 7th through November 4th. More information about this remote and in-person course is available online at ncc.edu/workforce development.
Okay. Yo.
Tell your friends about the Nassau Morning Madhouse. Hear what you're missing.
Check it out. Check it out.
If you had to be stuck in a room with someone you hated for 2 days, who would it be, and what would you do to pass the time?
Jennifer Aniston. I'm a pretty
Thank
girl.
you. You're gonna, okay.
I'm a pretty girl. She's in that cream commercial. What a waste of a body. She could have, beautiful children. You know what I mean?
You're stuck in a room with her for 2 days. What are you gonna do to pass the time?
I can look at the wall for 2 days.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate it. Caller number 2.
Drew Barrymore.
What would you do being stuck in a room with Drew Barrymore for 2 days?
I don't know if I could say it on the air.
Oh my God. Are you implying that you would have a wonderful time with confetti with her?
I don't know if it would be consensual, but it would be wild.
Oh wow!
The Nassau Morning Madhouse. Weekday mornings from 7 to 9. On the voice of Nassau Community College.
90.3 WHPC.
90.3 WHPC from the press box on your radio or your listening device or whatever. NCCradio.org. This show also becomes a podcast later on. And you go to anywhere, Spotify, Spreaker, WHPC. It's there.
You know, brother,
what?
Just to inject something, I was playing Nassau Morning Madhouse on my phone before the show.
Wow.
On the WHPC app.
That's true.
How about that?
It's available. Your WHPC weather forecast powered by Pantanos with locations in Hewlett, Uniondale, Garden City Park, Freeport, and now open in Levittown. This afternoon, it's going to be raining all day, whether it's light rain or heavy rain, depends on where you live. It's going to be high about 64. No, actually about 62.
Yeah, don't go to the Bronx. The Yankees are playing this afternoon. It's going to rain all day.
Tonight it's going to be more showers. Low about 58. Currently outside the studios at Nassau Community College, it is 61 degrees. My name is Rob Leonard. He is Tim Leonard. and welcome to our show from the press box. 516-572-7440. By the way, I don't want to talk about the Mets right now, but they are doing something. Tickets for which game? Tuesday? $2?
No, that's not from the Mets, brother.
What?
It's not from the Mets. It's from let's say a ticket reseller. I'm not going to give them a free plug on the show.
Who gives a crap about that, brother?
$2.
I don't count resellers for anything.
Well, but I'm saying they're available.
Yeah, but I don't buy because I don't know who they are. You know, they can have fake tickets.
It's a link on MLB.com, brother. It's legit.
Yeah, well,
all right, it's legit. MLB.com is not gonna send you to a scammer.
Oh yeah.
$2 for a ticket.
Because MLB is all on top of things, you know.
So $2.
Anyway, brother, let's talk about a team that's actually in the playoffs and has had a good season. The New York Liberty. They have. Well, let's talk about the good stuff first, brother. Yeah, okay.
Is that they swept the Washington Mystics,
right,
and Elena Delle Donne to advance to the WNBA semifinals. But, and here's the problem, and this is something again that we said on this show a few weeks ago. The Connecticut Sun are the one team that could spoil the party, and that could spoil the anticipated what everybody in the league, everybody who follows women's basketball has been anticipating all season, and that is the Las Vegas Aces and the New York Liberty in the WNBA final.
That's one that the league wants. That's the one where
super teams
most fans want.
Yes.
That doesn't always mean that it happens. So,
well, it might not happen because the Connecticut Sun yesterday dominated the Liberty in Game 1 of their best-of-5 semifinal series at Barclays Center, 78-63. The point total was the Liberty's lowest of the season. The Liberty shot 33.8%, again, worst of the season. It was not a good performance for the Liberty. And now, in Game 2, the Liberty are now facing a must-win. Because they play two at the Barclays Center, then they go up to Mohegan Sun where Connecticut plays, and they're going to play 2 there, and then if there's a Game 5, they come back to Brooklyn. Now, the Liberty swept the Sun this season. They were 4-0 against them. So the fact that the Liberty now are facing a situation that even one loss, it can be considered dire because you're only talking about a 5-game series. So Game 2 is clearly a must-win. And then the Liberty are going to have to take one of 2, at least in Connecticut. It would be nice if they took both of them in Connecticut. But this all of a sudden is in a bad way for the Liberty. So they need to get it done. Breanna Stewart, they double-teamed her for a lot of the game. She was not good yesterday. And I love Stewie, but 7 for 25 from the field is not going to get it done. 0 for 8 from three-point range is not going to get it done.
Too many three-pointers. If you're not hitting them, go in.
You know, I mean, but Sabrina Ionescu only had 12 points. I mean, everything in the Liberty's offense pretty much revolves around Stewie. And if she's not hitting shots and she's not getting to the basket, and she's not hitting from the outside, which will which will force the defense to open up more instead of packing it into the paint area, then nothing is going to work, and that's what happened yesterday. So the Aces, by the way, won their first game in the Western Conference semifinals.
Good to hear.
But. So we're waiting. We're waiting to see. Game 2 is I forget when check when Game 2 is, brother. I think it's tomorrow night, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think everybody should go down to the Barclays Center and go cheer on the Liberty because they're looking to get to the final. They haven't been in the finals in a long time. They've never won a title.
Nope.
So it's time.
I agree.
It's time for this team because this team is not going to be together for a long time because they can't, salary-wise, they can't keep all these players together. They have a real salary cap in the WNBA, and Breanna Stewart took less money to come here. She's not going to take less money forever.
No.
Because it's not like they're making millions of dollars here.
And we should say that, and this is important, 9,400 showed up at the Barclays Center, which is about 50%, which isn't bad.
It's a good crowd.
That's a good crowd. I mean, that's one of the problems with.
They filled the place for the Aces when the
Right.
Aces were here in the regular season.
Well, people
That's
knew.
why I would like to see more people. This is a big playoff game.
Right.
So
okay.
get out there and support the one team in New York that's actually playing well.
Yeah.
And it actually has a chance to win a championship.
The Sun Liberty game is tomorrow.
What time? 7:30?
Doesn't say. It just
Probably
says-
be on ESPN 2.
No, it's actually ESPN.
ESPN, there you go.
So, and there's
Even
game
better.
4 will be on, if there is
Well, game
game
3.
4, on ABC.
Even better.
Yeah, but then one of the fifth game, if there's one, is on ESPNU, which
That's bad.
that's
But
not
that's
good.
because it's probably going to be during the week.
Yeah,
And
it
they
is.
probably didn't expect it to go 5.
Yeah, probably.
But they didn't expect the Connecticut. They didn't expect Connecticut to win Game 1. I'm sure about that.
Right. Well, sometimes plans get changed.
Yes.
So anyway, good for the Liberty. Good for them. I hope hope they make the finals. Sometimes a sport needs a big final to get people to come back and watch it. Because the first 5 years of the WNBA, people showed up. That was a tough ticket to get.
Well, I mean, they still do, but it's depends on the market.
Hey, I went with Suzanne once because she got free tickets from her boss who had a season ticket package, and the place was sold out. So,
And that was probably at the Garden. No?
It was at the Garden. Yeah, it was the best seat I ever had to sit at the Garden.
There you go.
It's like we're like 10 rows off the floor. I'm like, wow, this is a really good seat.
I'm not going to tell you what my best seat was, brother.
You don't have to. You don't have to. Anyway, let's talk about the Yankees and the Mets. We're just waiting for the season to end. The Yankees, I would like to see them be over 500 for the season. They're one game over.
So would I.
They lost to the Diamondbacks yesterday, 7-1.
That was a bad loss.
And they're playing today. It's going to be raining all day, but they have to play because the Diamondbacks have to get the game because the
Diamondbacks are in wild card contention.
Right.
So that game will need to be played. Unless, they're going to have to find a window that even if it's raining, that if it's not raining too bad, then they're going to play the game. Because they need to get it in.
Well, if it was raining like when we came in and it was like a mist, they're playing. They're going to play. They're going to play.
Of course.
So,
without a doubt. But
Yankees,
that's
and the Yankees,
the problem.
And the Yankees have a history of canceling the game at like 9 in the morning, which I give them credit for because that means you don't have to go down to pay the $40 for parking, or if you get in, you have the ticket and everything else. So I've always been, even though I'm not a Yankee fan, I think they purposely will end the waiting, so to speak.
Well, but they had to postpone Saturday's game because we all knew that Ophelia was coming in and there was going to be a massive storm and there was going to be flooding and there was no point in even trying to play because we knew it was going to be an all-day rain. And we knew it was going to rain all weekend. So what's the point? I'm still amazed they got yesterday's game in.
Yeah.
But today, that's what they said is, all right, well, in fact, I don't know if the Diamondbacks had to reschedule a game because I thought they were playing the Cubs today or something. But the Diamondbacks had to brother, look to your left.
What?
Look to your left. There you go. But the Diamondbacks were playing.
Just say we got a phone call.
We got a phone call, brother.
Okay.
How about that? Anyway, the Diamondbacks have big games left because they're still looking for the playoffs. So that's why today's game will have to get played. I have no idea why Major League Baseball would schedule two teams that are across the country from each other to be playing in the last week of the season. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. Because let's say, and like we're in the situation now, where one of these teams needs to have this game played, but the weather is lousy. Well, you're going to have to have the game be played. The fans are going to be miserable because they're going to be sitting out in the rain, and you don't have any options. The game needs to be played because they're not going to be able to be in a situation where if the Diamondbacks are a half a game behind, let's say the Cubs or whatever, for the last wild card spot, well, now what do you do? Now you got to fly the Diamondbacks to New York to play the game anyway. So it's going to get played, but the conditions are going to be miserable, and it's just not a good look for Major League Baseball. I don't know why.
Not a sports.
Why you would schedule
brother.
teams that are almost 3,000 miles apart to be playing on the last weekend.
Well,
of the
that makes no sense.
It makes no sense at all.
Just
that's what I'm saying.
It makes even if it was playoff time, the flight isn't fair because if you're going for the playoffs like Arizona is, then you're going to be tired.
Well,
so. It makes no sense. I've always thought the last 2 weeks of the season should be just people within your division.
Intra division.
Yeah, and
that's what it should be. The Mets should be playing the Phillies and the Braves and the Nationals, and I'm missing somebody, but whatever. And the Yankees should be playing the Red Sox and the Blue Jays and the Orioles, and that's what should be happening in the last couple of weeks of the season. When teams are jockeying for position, see, like Major League Baseball wants them to be jockeying for the wild card.
Right, that's the big sell.
But if the National League, I'm like let's put it this way: the Orioles and the Rays, they're battling for the American League East title. I would love to see them playing in the last week of the season, because and nobody was expecting that race to be what it was going to be at the end of the season. But it would be great if they were playing at the end of the season. I don't even know who they're playing. They might be playing each other. Who knows? But if the Orioles are playing against the San Diego Padres, what's the point?
There is no point.
It's idiotic.
Well, I've always believed, it makes sense to do that. I mean, that's my thing. But, I'm not the Major League Baseball schedulers.
Maybe you should be, brother.
I know.
Send a resume in.
I'd be good at it. This is what I would get rid of interleague play. That would be the first thing.
Forget it. You just got fired before you even started the job.
Because it doesn't mean anything anymore.
I know, but they want it. Manfred wants, Commissioner of Baseball Rob Manfred, he wants the schedule to be like the NBA. He doesn't want the schedule to be like Major League Baseball was a few years ago when you were playing everybody in your division 19 times.
I like that.
He wants everybody to be playing everybody.
Then why have divisions?
Well, that's what he wants. Believe me, that's the future. He doesn't necessarily want divisions the way they are. Either that or he's going to change the divisions entirely. So believe me, that's
then again,
coming.
the Cowboys shouldn't be in the NFC East.
Of course, but that's how it is. So
anyway, so the question is, brother, Aaron Judge, do we sit him down for the rest of the year?
No.
I know that, but some people might think otherwise.
I mean, let's put it this way: he obviously can't hurt his injured toe any worse. Does he? And is he going to need surgery after the season? I don't know. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. Maybe he just needs to sit and rest it for a few months. But he clearly can't do any more damage to it. And if that's the case, then he should play. Because if he doesn't play, the Yankees more than likely will wind up under 500. They don't have any offense without him. And if you look at their lineup in the last couple of weeks or few weeks, it's Aaron Judge, DJ LeMahieu, and Gleyber Torres. And that's pretty much it.
Right.
Although I'll give Estevan Florial some credit. He's doing well since he got called up, even though the Yankees allegedly didn't want to call him up. But they finally had to when Jason Dominguez got hurt. And Florial's played pretty well. His on-base percentage is better than most of the lineup. I mean, granted, it's very small sample size, but he's getting on base like 35% of the time. I'll take that all day. Because that's what the Yankees need. The Yankees supposedly are being run by their analytics people. I've never seen analytics people put together such a collection of guys with lousy on-base percentages. Analytics is supposed to be about on-base percentage.
Right.
The Yankees, most of their lineup is under 300 on-base percentage, which is awful. I mean, I don't understand how this team was put together by analytics people, and they don't have anybody who can get on base. Well, it doesn't make any sense.
I'm a batting average person. I understand on-base thing because, if you get on because of an error or a walk.
Well, it's a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
errors don't count. But
they should.
Well,
because if you score a run based on getting on base because of an error, then that counts.
Well, all I know is that
doesn't count for the pitcher. But it counts for the runner.
The Yankees of the late '90s, the dynasty Yankees, the most recent dynasty Yankees, those guys got on base. They walked. They worked counts.
They did.
This version of the Yankees has one player who does that. His name is Aaron Judge.
Right, but that was because of who the manager was, who the coaches were. You have Don Zimmer, you have Joe Torre.
And you had Stick Michael, who was getting players like that.
Right.
Who acquired players like that. The Tino Martinez and Paul O'Neill and brought Bernie Williams up and raised him from a pup. And Derek Jeter and those guys all knew, hey, this is the Yankee way to play baseball. And somewhere along the way, in the last 25 years, that's gone away, and especially in the last maybe 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
And I don't get it.
I don't either. Let's quickly talk about the Mets. The season is just I mean, it's just painful to even try to watch a game right now.
Mets are 71-85.
Yeah.
Oof.
3-7 in the last 10.
Ouchie.
The question is,
They could lose
first of all,
90 games.
They could. Fortunately, the Mets are not going to bring Edwin Diaz to pitch in for the season. Let him rest. Let him not hurt himself again, or
it didn't make any sense to risk.
There's no reason.
His arm.
You know what? If they're going for the playoffs, maybe.
If he's going to the playoffs, then yeah, I would say. But
then
I don't know where he is in his rehab and how much he's thrown or anything like that. And it's not worth it to try to rush him back just to get a couple of major league appearances in when those appearances don't mean anything.
Right. It's not like he is going to get a bonus if he pitches over 50 innings.
Like the fans would feel great seeing him. Oh, yeah, Edwin's back. But who cares? It doesn't matter. Does it mean you win 73 games or 74? It doesn't matter.
No, at this point, it
so
doesn't.
let him rest. Let him get ready for next season and start preparing for that. And there's just no reason for that. But
and the question that's hanging over the Mets.
Which one is that, brother?
There's many of them, and they're going to work on it. But the one that's the easiest to take care of is Pete Alonso. Do we sign him? Do we trade him? Do we get rid of him? Do we keep him?
I think you got to make Pete Alonso an offer.
I think you do too.
And I would say look up how old Pete Alonso is, brother. But I would say that you're looking at probably something in the neighborhood of a 7-year deal for Pete Alonso. And if he says, well, I want a 10-year deal, look, you gave Lindor an 11-year deal or whatever, I'm telling Pete to take a walk. And
I agree.
He is very much
7 years is very good, brother.
Well, but Pete Alonso is very much a face of the franchise.
Yes, he is.
And from everything he does and says, he genuinely seems to love playing in New York.
He will turn 29 in December.
All right, so you're going to be paying for his age 20. Well, actually, he's not a free agent this year. It would be next year. So he would be a free agent at age 30. Yeah, the max I go is 7 years. Max. And I would probably try to get him for 6.
I would try for 6. I give him a little more money, but go for 6.
But how much? I go 6 years, 200. And I say, all right, Pete, you're not much of a defensive first baseman. Your batting average, you've been struggling for a couple of years now.
Horrible.
But you hit home runs and you drive in runs. Look at it. The home runs and the RBIs. There's no questioning it. Those are power hitter numbers, and he puts those up every year. If I got a guy in the middle of my lineup that even if he has a lousy batting average, he's getting me 120 RBIs, he's getting it done. So
I agree.
I don't, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem saying, Pete, we'll give you 6 years for $200 million. That's about 35 a year.
Yeah.
Or what? I don't know. I got to do quick math here now. 180 is 3, so 620. I'd even go 210.
Yeah,
but somewhere in that range, I'm not going to pay him more than Lindor because I don't think he deserves it. Like I said, he's not a very good defensive player. Chances are that later in his career, you're going to have to move him off first base late in games.
Well, Alonso, if you look at his record, his batting average, mostly between 260 and he had 231 in 2020, but that doesn't count.
Yeah,
but 217 this year. That's the problem.
It's not good. But what's his on base percentage?
On base percentage is 316.
Which, all right, is still not that good, but it's 100 points higher, which means he walks a lot.
Right.
So he's getting on base. It's not like his on-base percentage is 270. It's not like he's just getting up there and swinging from his heels every time he goes up, and 45 times he runs into one and hits it over the fence.
Yep.
He's actually working counts. He's getting on base, and those are productive at-bats. So, I think the Mets need to figure out what they want to do with this guy, and do they want him to be the face of the franchise? Because there's been the rumors about he might not be the greatest guy in the clubhouse.
Well,
I don't know.
Is he David Wright? That's the question.
To the fans, he is. To the owners and his teammates, he might not be.
That's something to think about.
Yes.
And don't forget, brother, about the Party Mix every Saturday at 4 p.m. Get the night started with host Stephanie Lombardo and a mix of feel-good tunes, including hip-hop, techno, dance classics, and current hits. That's the Party Mix every Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on 90.3 WHPC. Coming up next is one of the greatest disc jockeys in the world, Big Ed Newlands. He won't admit it because he's a humble man, Big Ed. So just give him a listen. He's going to play all the songs you want to hear, all the hits. I hope you listen to him. Brother, another great show.
Yes,
Thank
brother.
you. Anything else before we leave?
No.
Good. I'm Rob Leonard.
Tottenham Hotspur with a 2-2 draw in Arsenal and North London Derby yesterday.
Okay. I'm Rob Leonard. He's Tim Leonard. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.